these people will not receive the $1,200 stimulus check. As I'm sure you already well aware, every single American is going to receive a $1,200 check from the $2 trillion Congress passed CARES Act stimulus. However, the more I've been looking into it, the more I'm realizing that there are certain groups of people that are likely to fall through the cracks and will not receive any kind of benefit from the stimulus. So in this video, I am going to go over the groups of people who are likely to fall through the cracks here and why the program was set up this way. So the program was set up this way mostly for speed. Congress decided the quickest to send these checks out to everyone was deciding that $1,200 check out to every single tax-paying individual who paid taxes in either 2018 or 19. The stimulus is based off on your 2019 taxes, but it be used your 2018 taxes if you have not filed for 2019. And I'll go into more details on that later. So make sure you watch this entire video, because even if you think you qualify, you might be one of the groups that can fall through the cracks. And depending on your group that you are in, there's potential recourse you could do to make sure that you receive at least your potential of the stimulus. So the first group that's falling through the cracks is college students and anyone over the age of 17 and is dependent on their parents or someone's taxes, because as a part of the rule, if you are dependent over the age of 17, you don't qualify for the $500 additional bonus stimulus portion. So for the children under the age of 17, if a parent is claiming that a child is on their taxes, they get an additional $500 per child for dependent on the taxes. But the way it is outlined is if you are over the age of 17, you don't apply. So for millions of college students across the United States who are financially dependent on their parents, you know how many college students that are able to afford all their expenses, their self, their rent, their food, and then right now they are probably living at home. You know, with their parents eating their food, digging through the pantry, and none of those parents are receiving any kind of benefit stimulus wise, having those children as dependents, and especially in a time where most people incomes are limited, maybe people have lost their jobs. You know, everyone is having some kind of financial difficulty right now, and this is going to be a recurring theme on the dependent issue. And this brings me to the next group of people, and that's disabled adults whose parents support them. It's another issue with the dependency, because these people are also over the age of 17 and are filled as dependents on whoever is taking care of them. And the issue here is very similar to the college student issue, except even more exacerbated, because disabled adults are the definition of reliant on whoever is taking care of them, are the definition of a dependent. Those people have higher than normal expenses, especially if there's medical related things, or they simply can't make any amount of money in lot of cases because they are either bedbound or have something going on where they can't earn any money and need a full-time caretaker, which takes time and energy out of Houston. Care of them time that could be spent earning more money. And again, these people are also no doubt having some financial difficulties right now, and they could either have their hours limited, lost their jobs. Everyone is struggling right now, and I can't imagine what the group is going through right now, having a disabled adult or someone who are financially taken care of, and having spent all this time to take care of, and then you don't receive any kind of financial benefit whatsoever. The silver lining is the social security benefit holders, either for retirement or disability, actually don't need to file taxes in order to get the $1,200 stimulus check. However, the caveat here is if you are dependent on someone else's taxes, you don't count at all in this case for the $500 additional benefit. Another strange group that may fall through the cracks are married couples that are recently divorced or estranged. Now it's the 4th month of 2020, and a lot can happen in those 4 months. So if someone got a divorce between the time of filing taxes for 2019 and now, or maybe they are not on speaking terms with their husbands or wife, this could potentially be an issue with the stimulus, because the stimulus check is going to be sent to whichever bank account was attached to the 2019 taxes. And if you and your spouse are strange or not talking, that might go to one or the other, and no benefit will go to the other person unless there is communication and cooperation there. Because there is no way in the IRS system in order to say, hey, we are recently divorced or having a strange marriage, these needs to be split. There's simply no way to do it. So if you are in a situation similar to that, this is the kind of thing, this is the best to get right in front of and try to make it so whoever your spouse was, if you are recently estranged, work out a deal where you can both split and that have some kind of amicable agreement there. Another similar dependency situation is senior citizens who are living with their kids. Now, many senior citizens, even if they're working their entire lives, retire and then live with their kids. And many of those kids in that city, I would file their senior citizen parent as a dependent on their taxes. And normally, that would save you some money. But in this situation, you are not gonna be eligible for the $500 bonus per dependent because again, they are over the age of 70. And this one I find really ridiculous because that senior citizens could have been a tax-paying citizen literally for 40, 50, 60 years of their life, and now they are living with someone else. Someone else is claiming them as a dependent. They are not going to receive any benefit personally, and whoever is claiming them isn't going to receive any benefit, despite the fact that they could have been, productive tax-paying citizens their entire life. So that's kind of a weird one. Another strange is parents who split custody. Now many parents who are divorced, they'll take turns on who get to claim the children on their taxes. So maybe even every year you get to claim the children on your taxes. Every odd year your spouse gets to claim on their taxes. The thing that might be an issue here is whoever claims their children on the taxes is 2019 is going to be the beneficiary of the stimulus money per child. But this is going to happen again. The stimulus is attached to whichever bank account was attached to the 2019 taxes. So if you have claimed the children for 2019, you are going to get that full benefit. And if that was your spouse, they are going to get the full benefit. And you're going to have to try and work on some agreement where you can split that because it's based off tax year. And you could potentially see that there being a lot of issue there where one spouse receives, per child could easily be $1,500 to $2,000, and they might not even want to share that right away. And there's literally nothing you can do unless there's an applicable agreement there where you can share it, and hopefully you can work something out with your spouse if you're in that situation. Another group that simply won't qualify is immigrants without social security numbers. You don't have to be a US citizen in order to receive the stimulus payment, but you do need to have a social security number. That means immigrants with green cards and those on H-1B and H-2A visas will get payments. But non-resident aliens, temporary workers and immigrants in the US illegally will not receive any kind of stimulus. Another group to consider here is babies born in 2020. Again, this is the issue because stimulus is based off 2019 taxes. So if you had a child born in 2020, that means tax-wise there is no recognition of that child yet. But with this one, there's another silver lining because you will ultimately receive the stimulus money. You will just receive once you file your 2020 taxes. There will be credit here, and I'll go over later how you simply won't lose the stimulus money if you don't receive it right away. And again, that stimulus money will go whichever parent claimed their child in 2020. So make sure you're aware of that your 2020 taxes. If you need to split that, or however you need to make an agreement with your spouse or your baby mama. If for whatever reason you don't receive your stimulus money, good news, it's not gone forever. Now the best way to get your stimulus as soon as possible is to already have had your bank account information with the IRS for your 2019 taxes. However, many people don't have that, and you will be mailed a paper check for your student's money. The issue here is it would be 5 or 6 months is what they are saying before those checks are actually received by the taxpayers. And I know most of you are struggling right now and you'd like to have money right now, because in 5 or 6 months it might all be blown over and we might be totally fine, and money today is simply always worth more than money tomorrow. So there's one thing you can do here in the next 2 months or one. The IRS is coming up with an online portal that will allow you to add your bank information, and you'll be able to then receive the stimulus money electronically and much sooner than what the paper check, and probably with much less issues, because I can only imagine if they're spending out literally millions of paper checks, we are going to get lost. They are going to be sent to your old address and not forward. I'm going to see a million issues here as far as those paper checks go. But the another silver lining here is, because I want to put some positive news in, is if you don't receive the stimulus at all through the year of 2020, it's not gone. It will be waiting for you on your return of 2020 tax return. So in 2021, when you file your taxes for 2020, that will be there on part of your tax return, and you will ultimately get that stimulus $1,200 on your 2020 taxes. So don't worry too much about the fact that you may not receive it right away, because ultimately you will receive it. However, again, money today is always worth more than tomorrow. So I would try again and get it even if you don't need it. You might as well try and get it sooner than later and just be ahead of the game there. Another strange group here is high income earners who lost their jobs. Now again, this is because the stimulus is based off on your 2019 taxes. Anyone who earned more than $99,000 in 2019 will not receive the stimulus check. However, you could have received $99,000 in 2019 and then just got fired in March or laid off, or don't have a job whatsoever, and you will never receive the stimulus check. And that's a bit ridiculous. I think that's something that really need to work on and try to find some solution for. Obviously, there's unemployment other options, but not to be applicable at all seems a bit ridiculous, especially for someone who is a high producing individual in the economy. This one seems really ridiculous to me. And as someone who is a high producing individual, and as you are probably already aware, there are already income limits on receiving the stimulus checks, which makes sense. For high income earners, if you make below $75,000, you will receive this full $1,200 stimulus check. And that slowly decreases until about $99,000 per year. For married couple, you will receive the full $2,400 if the joint couple makes less than $1,50,000 a year. And again, that scales down until $1,98,000 for the joint filing. And the $2,400 will just slowly scale down from there. Honestly, if you are making that much, this $1,200 isn't going to make much of a difference for you. And if you already have your job, so you are probably not watching this video right now. So if you're one of those brackets, it's always nice to get that extra check. So here's a situation to think about. If you earn under $75,000 in 2018 and over $75,000 in 2019 and you have not yet filed your 2019 taxes, you will receive the full $1,200 stimulus. But you will have to either pay full or a portion of that back when in 21 when you file for your 2020 taxes. It's because it's based off most of your recent taxes. So here's an example. If you earn $60,000 in 2018 and $120,000 in 2019 and haven't filed your 2019 taxes, you will receive that full $1,200 check. But you will be required to pay the entire amount back in your 2020 tax return. And that you can scale that however goes. If you made $60,000 in 2018, $85,000 in 2019, you have to pay a portion back. So that's something to be aware of. You might receive that check, but be totally aware that you will be able to have to pay that portion of that back in your 2020 taxes. So don't try to think that you just slip through the cracks here and you are getting some extra cash without anyone realizing, because you are going to ultimately have to pay that back. So the last group that you will not be eligible for the $1,200 stimulus check are people who owe back on child support. Now this is kind of strange one too, because if you owe back on child support and you're making payments, and let's say you are 100% upon payments, you are on track to pay it off completely, you still unfortunately will not receive any form of stimulus check, which is also kind of ridiculous, because these people are obviously who need the money right now and could potentially be on attractive paid off. I don't really agree with that one, but that's just another stimulus here in the law. So finally, unless you're social security benefit recipient either for disability or retirement, you have to have your 2018 and 2019 taxes filed as soon as possible in order not to be overlooked for the stimulus check. And another piece of good news here is TurboTax is offering a free simple tax return and registration service for the stimulus checks if you haven't filed your 2018 and 2019 taxes. So make sure you do that as soon as possible if you want to be considered and you want to be part of the stimulus package. And I hope this information was illuminating for you on what to expect with the stimulus package. If this video helped you out at all, please click like on this video. Helps the YouTube algorithm, and also make sure you subscribe. I'm posting all the updates I can on this entire stimulus package, and I'm consuming all this information out to you guys, and I would really appreciate it. Until next time, have a profitable day.